What's going on, everyone? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Target exclusive 2-pack Marvel Legends Storm and Thunderbird 2-pack. As far as the packaging goes, I'm not going to really be showing too much of the packaging. There's just, it's kind of bland and boring, and it doesn't really fit the theme of this. It would have been nice to actually get some giant-size X-Men packaging for this, but we pretty much just got like I think it's like the 20th anniversary of the crappy X-Men movies. So it doesn't really fit the theme. I don't really care about it. So I won't be showing packaging because at the end of the day, this is about the figures. It's not about packaging, and I don't really care about packaging. So anyway, moving on. I'm going to get straight to the point here. Usually when someone always asks me, would you like the good news or the bad news? I always say, give me the bad news first. Save the best for last, right? So that's what we're gonna do here. I'm not gonna BS around. I'm not gonna rant for 5 minutes about what my thoughts are on this. What I'm gonna do is I'm simply just going to touch on both figures and give you my final thoughts at the end and simplify things. As far as this goes, like I said, I'm gonna be doing the bad first. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so speaking about Thunderbird first, there's quite a plethora of different issues with him. He is a bag of wonders, as I like to call this figure. Because I wonder what Hasbro was thinking when they were doing this figure. First of all, he's on the Cap Wolf body. And if you don't believe me, I will actually bring in, this is not Cap Wolf, but it is the vintage Captain America right here. And as you can see, they are on a pretty much the same body, except for like the obvious boots and the forearms. But everything else, except for the heads, the forearms, and the boots, are pretty much the same. Obviously, the belts are going to be different, but I'm not including that. It's just the body itself is pretty much identical. Anyway, that's my Cousin Vinny reference for the day. A lot of people, let me nip this in the bud before I go through all the paint work and the line work and the sculpt. A lot of people are saying that this body is too small for Thunderbird, and I think they're actually confusing Thunderbird with Warpath. And Warpath is a different character on his own, and Thunderbird here came before Warpath and is actually a family relative of Warpath. And Thunderbird here actually died during the Giant Size X-Men run. And then I think he was actually brought back later on. But Warpath is actually around 7'2". Thunderbird here is only around 6'1". So this being on the Cap body is actually not too bad. The unfortunate part is that the head is rather on the large side. Now, I'm not saying every single figure has to be the most proportionate, but this is a little bit on the rather large side. There's a lot of human beings out there that have large heads and their heads don't fit their bodies sometimes. That's perfectly fine. Not every character is going to be exactly perfect and symmetrical and proportionate. Human beings are flawed, okay? Characters are flawed. Fictional characters are flawed. So this is not that big of a deal for me. The problems that I have is that the sculpt looks a little bit like he's on the older side. Like he's maybe in his, I don't know, mid-20s to 30s. And he doesn't look like he's supposed to be a teenager in his, or late teenager in his 20s, at least. He looks like he's pretty much in his 30s, is what he looks like. He looks like a grown-ass man. The artwork on the box, which I won't really be touching on, is pretty good. I think the artwork actually is more expressive of the character than this action figure is. The head sculpt itself, like I said, the hair looks pretty good. I don't really have an issue with how they sculpted the hair. I don't know why my phone is, there we go. The sculpt of this little piece, so it's kind of like a little detailed piece right here, which actually holds on to these feathers right here. Looks pretty good. I like that it's a little bit of a darker red tone for that. And the feathers themselves look pretty good. The paint on them is going to leave you wanting. It's not the best paint job. You can see a lot of black bleeding through, which is not the best. The red on the bandana is not necessarily the best either. It's very inconsistent. As you can see, there's a lot of black bleeding through here, and then there's like lighter red paint stripe right here, which is just, what the hell are you doing? There's white defect paint right there. I just don't understand. The face itself, luckily enough, there's actually not any paint defects on the actual face itself. So I got lucky there. Usually in typical ODC fashion, I would have some sort of bullshit on the face, and I don't have it. So I'm happy for that. I don't know if that's a win, really, for Hasbro's column, but it's a win for my column as being a collector. The paint doesn't, the inconsistent paint doesn't stop there, because it continues right onto the chest. And the chest itself is different shade of red from the abdomen. I'm not really sure what the hell's going on here, why we're doing this, how this slipped through. It's like they put one coat of paint on the chest and then like 2 or 3 coats of paint on the abdomen. So this is a darker red than this red right here. This is the color it should be, and this is like a faded red, darker red. I don't know what the hell's going on. It continues on to the back, where you see a darker red here, and then the regular red it's supposed to be on the back. And just to prove that, there's the ab crunch going forward, and you can see this red matches this shitty red, and this doesn't match this, which doesn't match this, which, well, I guess these match that. But then the line work over here is really janky. I'm not trying to nitpick the shit out of it, but this is what it is. It's just what it is. The truth of the matter. The fact of the matter is that the line work is kind of crap. The paint is inconsistent. The line work up top on the torso looks pretty good, and on the back looks okay. There's some spotting right here, but you can actually see some fading right here in the paint right here. It's just very inconsistent. This is one of the most inconsistent action figures I've seen Hasbro put out in a long time, in a very long time. It's probably the most inconsistent. I want to say this might be the whole, like, as far as a whole wave, or it's not actually a wave, but a whole box set goes. This, remember these? These were the most inconsistent figures for its time. And now this has taken over with the different shades of orange on the front and then the yellow on the back. This box set was a mess, an actual train wreck. I still think that they should need to go back and redo that box set. But anyway, the bright points of this, I mean, you've got the nice newly sculpted belt right here. That's cool. The paint on the face itself looks pretty good. The skin tones actually match the face where there is skin tones. So that's a plus. These are reused nega bands from, I believe, Captain Marvel. And just to prove that, I'll bring in Captain Marvel. And there is Captain Marvel, which is I want to say, a much better figure than this figure. And those are the exact same. I think they're the same. Pretty sure, yeah. Those are just the exact same nega bands from Captain Marvel. Or Marvel. And I just don't understand what we're doing here. Also, the other shade of red is on the tassels for the boots and the tassels for the arms. Those are a different shade of red also. So you've got like 3 different shades of red here, and none of them are consistent. So it's just very odd. The boot tassels, I mean, it's it's like I should not have to do this. And I know I complain about this every damn time, and I'm going to continue to complain about this every damn time until Hasbro does their job like they're supposed to and glues these where they're supposed to. If they're supposed to be where the boot cut swivel is, then put them where the damn boot cut swivel is and glue them. I'm not getting paid by Hasbro to be doing this. If this is a production figure and it's a widely grossed production figure, then this is type of stuff that just annoys me when I'm spending over $20 because this set was $50. If I'm spending $25 per figure and you can't even glue some damn tassels to the boots, and I've been saying this since Cyclops, the first release of Cyclops, in the Jim Lee body. I've been saying this for a long time since they've been doing these floating pieces. Just glue the damn pieces down. I don't understand why we're doing this. Figures from 1992 that had separate pieces had them glued down or pegged in. I don't understand why we have to continuously do your work for you, Hasbro. Do it your damn self. Anyway, continuing on. With that being said, let's go through articulation really quick. Let me get my pointer out of the way. His head can swivel at a full 360 rotation. He does have a hinge joint, which he can look up about that far, and that's about it because it's hindered due to the hair sculpt. He can look down really well. He can pivot side to side. We'll see if we got jive turkeys up in here. He's a jive turkey up in here. Also, the head does sit a little bit high on the neck. Just a tad. Not a lot, but, a little bit. Arms go up, down, a full 360 rotation in the arm. Same thing for the other side. And be careful with these arms because they will start chipping some of the paint or plastic off, or denting some of the plastic, I should say. As we can see right here, there's a little bit of issue there still with his Cap Wolf body. He does have a bicep swivel, a double-jointed elbow, which that's about maxed out for his double-jointed elbow. He has a swivel at the wrist. He has hinge joints at the wrist. If you do have extra hands from maybe, let's see, Shang-Chi, maybe you could swap those out with him. I don't know if the paint will match. Let me grab Shang-Chi really quick and just see if the paint will match. And no, it's a darker skin tone, so it's not going to work. So you can't even use extra hands from other people unless you skin tone match. The ab crunch goes back. I like that the paintwork does continue. That's nice. And he crunches forward, and the paintwork does continue on the back. He does have a waist swivel. He's got T-jointed hips, which go out, and the legs go forward, and upper thigh swivel. Legs go back a little bit, but due to the sculpting of the rear end, it's kind of in the way. He does have a double-jointed knee, which goes about that far. He's got a boot swivel. He can point the toey, point the heely, and he's got ankle pivot, and there's the holes of pegs on the feet. Okay, and we're back with Storm, the bright point of this, and damn, it's like crazy that Hasbro can do as lazy of a job with Thunderbird and then give us this in the exact, not even in the same wave, okay? In the exact same packaging, in a 2-pack, you give us this awesome figure, which there's a couple things that kind of annoy me about the figure, but the figure itself, it comes with, like, if there's one Storm figure I think to get, this is the one. I think this is the definitive Storm. This is the Storm I grew up with, even before the Jim Lee one. This is the Storm I remember as a kid, okay? Especially with the arcade game, this is the Storm I remember. And then the Toy Biz days started with the the 90s Toy Biz figures with the big kind of Storm lightning bolt on the chest. Maybe we'll get that one day, hopefully. But this is really the Storm I remember reading in the comics as a kid. And it's so nice to finally have this look for her. After them giving every other look. And I'm glad we got the Jim Lee one. I think this is far superior to that Jim Lee one. The cape, the plastic cape itself, the fact that you get 2 capes in this. You get a resting cape and a resting head, and both head sculpts are gorgeous. We'll get to those in a second. You get 6 pairs of hands, or not 6 pairs of hands. You get 6 hands, 3 sets of hands, which we'll go through also. But I kind of just want to just talk about this because it's so funny that Hasbro can be this inconsistent with this 2-pack, but then give us this. I think it's a hilarity. I really do. But just looking at this, I mean, this is really like how I want to have her posed. And if you guys know me, like the reason why I'm geeking out about this figure is because this is probably top 5 characters of all time. Storm is my girl. If there's one girl in the Marvel Universe for me, it's Storm. And if you guys have known me for a long time, you already know that. But the people that don't, I'm kind of just letting you know that. And for the longest time, we haven't been getting really good Storm figures, and this is finally the one. They finally hit the nail on the head. We got 70s or 80s Storm with the mohawk, which was blah and had some QC issues. At least with mine it did. We've got the modern looking one with that kind of crappy nylon cape that came with the Jim Lee one too. The Jim Lee one is good sculpt-wise, but that cape is just hot shit. Drizzling shits, as I say. But this one is goddamn. And even her having heels, which are not the same heels as Emma Frost and all of those other characters like Scarlet Witch that we've gotten, and the Celine figure from the Hellfire 4-pack, excuse me. And the plethora of other figures that have gotten heels, these are actually the correct heels to give. These are the proper heels to be giving. The sculpt on her is fantastic. I would have paid $25 for this figure if it was single carded release, because she comes with everything she needs. She looks fantastic. All this new tooling, all this sculpt work, it looks great, and it pays off at the end of the day. It just baffles me that you look at Thunderbird and it's like, what the hell? There's no way that's from the same company as this. Like, this head sculpt is amazing. It looks beautiful. She looks like she runs shit. I think the body is right. Maybe the chest could be a little bit larger. But the sculpt work all throughout the chest, even going past the cape up into her neck, that's all sculpted in. It's all sculpted in. The belly work right here is all sculpted in. The boots, the thigh-high boots, are all sculpted. This is all sculpted in. All of these little holes so you can see her leg. The paint work is pretty consistent throughout. I'm going to give them a pass for all of this yellow line work that's kind of fading a little bit, like right here, a couple spotty parts, because it is difficult to do line work on black plastic and vice versa. So if they were to do this all yellow with black paint, that way it might not have looked so good either. So I can give them a pass for the yellow line work. And for the most part, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. But this looks beautiful. This is the type of quality that I would expect for $25. Thunderbird, not so much. Her, absolutely. But like I said, she comes with this head sculpt. It looks fantastic. I absolutely love this. I don't know which one's my favorite because it's just 2 different emotions completely. I love the wild and exaggerated hair that we have here. I mean, she looks pissed off, and I don't want to piss her off. I really don't. But she's gorgeous. She looks fantastic. I love all the black, the light, subtle black paint shading going throughout the white hair. It looks so good. It really, really does. And I'll give the devil his due when it's due. And they did a really good job here. The issue I do have is kind of this ugly hinge right here at the elbow. But you do actually get pretty good range of motion here. I mean, that's more than 90 degrees with a female figure. I know Hasbro, what was it, announced over the weekend recently that they're going to be doing double jointed elbows in the future with female figures, so that's good. As long as, I don't mind a single joint, as long as the single joint gets double jointed range of motion. That's all that matters to me. If the double joint looks funky and we're going to have pins, then do a single joint with better range of motion. That's all us collectors could want. But anyway, the head sculpt looks so good, and I really can't emphasize that enough. It looks really good. The boots look good. She can stand. She can stand with heels. Just have to really just kind of play with the feet. But she will stand. She is not Emma Frost. Even with this heavy, bulky cape. This is what another thing that baffles me is that you give us the Hellfire Club with the same kind of heavy, dense cape syndrome, and she can stand fine and she can pose fine and do a dynamic pose, but the other ones can't. Her knee joints are solid. I mean, these are solid knee joints. They're really not gummy. If I brought Emma Frost over here, her leg joints go flopping all over the place. I actually had to just lean her up, and I just got her. She's a brand new figure. I have to lean her up against another figure just to get her to stand because her leg is bowing so badly. I mean, it's really bad. Anyway, I'm not here to bitch about Emma Frost in the Hellfire Club pack. But the sculpting for the little gauntlets right here, or the wristbands, whatever you want to call those, look really good. Like I said, I like the sculpted chest ruby or whatever that is on her cape right there. This is a floating piece, so it will move and wiggle, which I don't mind because it's a cape. I love the windswept look, kind of like she is powering up. And I just like that she actually does not have pupils on either one. I don't need, for Storm, I really don't need pupils. So that doesn't bother me one bit. I like how glossy she is too. I think it works for her. It looks really good. Don't have too many issues there. The head is removable, so you can take that off. I did preheat all of my joints. Let's see if we have any wiggle like we did with Celine from the Hellfire pack. No wiggle there, so we're good. It's a nice tight fit on the neck joint, and this is what she looks like with no head on, and this is all sculpted. That's what I'm talking about right there, Hasbro. Sculpt it. I mean, they could have went the cheap route and just painted it, but they didn't. This is an all-new sculpt right here. This is an all-new sculpt for that torso, all-new sculpt for these boots. This is a very well-done figure. It's very well done. Here's what she looks like with her cape powered down and kind of just neutral posed. And like I said, this is going to be tough, man. This is really going to be tough. If I could actually get a hold of another one of these, I would love to. I think it's actually worth me buying another one. Maybe one for a giant size X-Men display, and then I'll power her up for the arcade X-Men team. That's what I would like to do, I think. But, you know, if you have her just in a neutral pose and you can swap out her hands, which she comes with these kind of storm gesturing hands, you can take those off and you could just put in the regular fist hands, which is nice. She doesn't use her fists a whole lot, but it's nice to have that option. Maybe she's really angry, or you could have her pounding on the table, arguing with Cyclops over some sort of decision-making process, or just have her in a fighting stance. You could have her in that fighting stance, and it'll look good, you know? She looks good. Or you could have the other head on, but it's nice to have the option of having extra hands. Would have been nice if Thunderbird had some extra hands, but he doesn't. Or even just came with fist hands for him, since he's kind of Mr. Bruiser. But taking these hands off, we also have the, as I call them, branch hands. But they're electricity hands. The hands themselves, let me see if I can focus here. On the hands themselves, come on, let's focus here today. Stay focused, Anthony. You can see the little bit of paint shading going throughout or not paint shading, excuse me, the little bit of sculpt work that's not painted going throughout the hand. You can see there's a little bit of electricity. The same thing happened with the vintage Electro figure, and a lot of these figures that have these branch hands, as I call them, they kind of have extra sculpt work that isn't painted, and it would have been nice if they actually painted them the same color. I don't have too many issues with this color. It is a little bit darker than I would like, but I'm not going to sit here and bitch and moan about it. So let's just put her hands in, and then you can get her into maybe like a flight pose here. Just playing around here. Like so. Like she's... Man, that looks great. It's just little, like when things go well, they go very well for Marvel Legends. It seems like when they do the damn thing, they really can do the damn thing well. It's like if we only got this quality every time, you know. As far as her range of motion and such goes, on the lightning hands, if I can get them out, they have a hinge joint that goes back and forth on both. The fist hands, they have also the same hinge, which goes back and forth. If I can focus, if my camera will just autofocus today, that would have been nice. But they go back and forth, and then all the hands pretty much have the same exact hinge joints. So you don't have any pistol hands or anything like that. As far as her articulation does go, if we can focus again here, her head can go up and down. I'm going to do articulation with both and range of motion with both capes on and heads on, so we'll go with that. The head can go up and down, like so. Can look all the way up, and, well, more so down than up. The hair sculpt gets in the way. She can kind of pivot side to side a little bit. Let's see if she's got jive turkeys. Oh, my God, and she's even got jive turkeys. I love her. Arms go up about that far, down. It can do a full 360 rotation with no cape on, but the cape's getting in the way for obvious reasons. She has a single jointed elbow, which is a very good bend, and that's both sides. So she has got really good range of motion in the arms. Swivel at the arm as well. She does have a wrist rotation and a hinge joint, which can go up and down, left and right, whichever way you want to go. She does have the diaphragm joint, which I don't really mind too much. It doesn't bother me. And it can pivot side to side and crunch forward and back and swivel, so that's nice. She can do the splits, even though she doesn't really do the splits. Her legs can go forward, back a little bit, upper thigh swivel. A double jointed knee, which that's about it. A little bit past 90 degrees. It's acceptable. She can point the toe, point the heel. She does have ankle pivot, which is actually a little bit better of an ankle pivot than the Emma Frost ankle pivot, which is kind of useless ankle pivot. Let's see if she's got that booty. She's got that booty, and she's got a little bit of booty poking from the thigh too, so that's good. So she is shapely. She could be a little bit thicker, but I don't mind this body for her. I think it's just about right. Okay, and we're back, and as far as her head looks up, that's about it. I mean, there's a lot of hair in the way here. She can look down, though, which is good in case she wants to look down while she's flying, hovering over somebody. She can tilt her head. She is on that hinge joint, so she can tilt her head side to side. The head sits very nice and flush, right where it's supposed to be on the neck. She doesn't have giraffe neck or anything like that, so it looks perfect. Let's see if she's got some jive turkeys. Oh, yeah, we got some turkeys up in here. Oh, just a little turkey. Arms go up, down. It can go forward and back. Same arm articulation. I'm not going to go through this again because I already did, but I will go through the torso articulation just so you can see how much she crunches forward and then back with the cape on, pivot side to side, swivel, and all that fun jazz. Okay, as far as size comparisons go, I figured to put everybody in one shot and just do a bunch of size comparisons right here, right now. So we've got a theme here. We've got Spider-Woman and Spider-Man. The vintage Spider-Man on the left and the Spider-Woman on the right, from the Molten Man Build-A-Figure wave, I believe. Okay, next up we've got Moonstar on the right. I almost said Moonstone every time I want to say Moonstone, but it's Moonstar on the right. And Storm is taller. And you've got Cyclops from the Love Triangle 3-pack on the left. Okay, next up we've got Psylocke from the Amazon exclusive 3-pack with Nimrod on the right. And then we have the Silver Centurion Walgreens exclusive Iron Man on the left. Okay, next up we've got Rage on the left on the Hyperion body mold, and then we have Jean Grey on the right from the Age of Apocalypse wave. Okay, and last up we've got Blink on the right, and then we have the Colossus from the Marvel Legends 2-pack with Juggernaut on the left. And those are your size comparisons. Okay, and I figured for the next segment, I'd just show the majority of the team. I think we're just missing Banshee for the Giant Size X-Men. But here is the Giant Size X-Men. You could also, you pretty much have the entire arcade, X-Men arcade team too. If you just throw in Dazzler with this, and then you throw in the brown-suited Wolverine and take out Thunderbird there and Sunfire, you pretty much have the entire, well, yeah, not pretty much, you have the entire team there for that. So, but here's the Giant Size X-Men for the most part, minus Banshee. Hopefully we get him sooner rather than later, and hopefully we actually get some interchangeable wings for him, maybe with the wings up or with the wings down. It'd be pretty cool to see that. Hopefully we don't get a cheap, crappy cloth with that figure in the future, but it would be nice to finish off this team. And for the most part, you have the majority of the team here. As far as the Wolverine, I know someone's going to ask you for the Wolverine. How do you do that? That's the first appearance Wolverine. That came in the Hulk 2-pack with the Love Triangle 3-pack head. And that yellow does actually match up with the bright yellow of the first appearance one. For the most part, everybody else is just the way they came. I'm hoping in the future that we get another re-release of this figure because I'd like to pick him up single-carded eventually. Everybody else pretty solid. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to do this quick little segment with the Giant Size X-Men. Okay, so my final thoughts and my final verdict for this 2-pack, it's kind of a mixed bag of emotions. Storm is so good. I would say if you can just get Storm, just get her. If Thunderbird's a really big necessity for you and you want to get all the Giant Size X-Men, then I would say get the 2-pack. Maybe wait for it to drop in price to around $40. Then I think you're spending what you should. I think this 2-pack should have been $40 with the treatment that Thunderbird got. With her, man, she probably could have been a single card release. And I find myself repeating myself again, saying almost the same things that I said about the Rogue and Pyro 2-pack. Pyro probably should have been a single card release. Storm should have probably been a single card release. And maybe they could have done more for Thunderbird and did some better quality control with the paint. Maybe a better head sculpt. Better line work and such. More hands. He didn't use knives, so you can't say, oh, he should have knives too, because that was Warpath. But the point I'm trying to make is that it would have been nice if we would have just maybe got alternate head for him, extra hands. Maybe that would have been sufficient, and better paint apps for him. Just that would have made him a better figure. I think he's on the right body. Just he needed a little bit more to really make me say that $50 is worth this 2-pack. It's not worth it. It's worth $40, I think, especially for Storm. I mean, you can pretty much get both looks that you need with Storm. If you're not happy with Storm after this 2-pack, I don't know what to tell you as a collector. She's the bee's knees. I think she's definitely top 10 figure of the year candidate, excuse me. But I would say if you can pass on him, pass on him. I'm still going to give a 2 thumbs up, and it's mostly because of her. As far as each figure goes, I'd give him a 1 thumb up, and that's being generous. With her, I'll give her she's definitely got a 2 thumbs up. The 2-pack as a whole, like I said, if you can get it at $40, I know what's going to happen, though. We all know the secondary market's going to jack the prices up on these, plus they're Target exclusive, so they're already hard to get. I put a whole rant on the Strident page about that. But, objectively speaking, Storm is absolutely 100% worth it if you can get past Thunderbird. But it's all about how much you want to spend and how much is in your pocketbook, how much you're willing to spend to get her. I'm assuming that probably people are going to jack up the prices on her because everyone's going to know they want Storm and not Thunderbird. So it's going to be one of those dichotomies that we're going to have to deal with as collectors. And for those of you that didn't get it retail, I feel sorry for you. Maybe down the road we'll get a single carded release for her, hopefully. Maybe we'll get a Giant Size X-Men box set down the road, and you can just pass on this for now and wait. But for now, I'm going to stick to my guns and say she is 100% worth it, and he is just not. So that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.